Good afternoon. It is 2:33 on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, and this meeting of the Sandpoint Parks and Rec Commission is now called to order. For the record, I am Chairman Taylor Long, presiding in the City Council chambers at City Hall, 1123 West Lake Street in Sandpoint, Idaho. Commission members present are Jessica Jansen, Josh DeLucci, myself, Tyler Wagner, Heidi Ohal, and Dan Taddick. We will now proceed with approval of the minutes from the commission's last meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on September 10th, 2025.
Didn't we have an amendment?
Oh, yes, with one amendment, and that is that Commissioner Tyler Wagner was not present. It's absent.
I would still move that motion.
Second. Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes from the last meeting?
Aye.
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 Okay. Did not hear Heidi, but. Heidi, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you now.
Okay, I approve.
Okay, with that, the motion to approve the minutes, passes, and we can move on to our, little unfinished business. We're gonna start with, Travers Park recommendations for outdoor amenities.
Annie,
Yes.
should we do comments from the public before we get into the agenda?
My experience has been is that we can ask them after the commissioners are done talking about each agenda item. You can check in and see if they wanted to say
There might
something
be some
about that
general
agenda.
comments,
Okay,
which are usually heard at the beginning of the meeting.
Yep.
But
Okay.
I'd recommend doing that, so members of the public who aren't here for something on the agenda might be able to.
Cool, well, let's start there.
Yeah, do you have anything in your script about public comment?
I do not.
You might just invite any members of the public who wish to comment on something not on the agenda to do so
Sure.
now, and generally they have 3 minutes
Sure.
to speak if they choose. They'd have to state their name and whether.
Okay, so
I've been in a lot of
we will invite members of the public to make a comment. Your time is limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name and whether you are a city resident.
You want to go first?
That's on the agenda. It's on the agenda, so I think we're okay.
Oh, are you speaking about something on the agenda?
Good.
Okay, we will wait until we get there.
Okay. Then we will move on to Travers Park.
So, just as a matter of updates, CPD, Jason Welker, Parks and Rec, one of my departments, so here. We did our ribbon cutting on Saturday at the playground and the picnic shelter and the splash pad. We had around 60 or so participants at that. We had a food truck, we had the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club had the tent set up. The pad for the shelter had been poured on Friday, so the concrete was still wet, but they set their tent up right in front of it. So we can kind of envision what the Rotary picnic shelter will look like here in a few weeks when it's done. Good news, I have some things specifically related to next steps for the park, but I just wanted to give an update for you guys with what's going on at the park right now. So the shelter itself has been, the wood has all been milled and prepped off site. On Friday last week, we received the engineered drawings from Timber Frame HQ, the company that we bought the plans from, which means we can now submit those for a building permit. By the end of this week, we'll have a building permit in hand for the picnic shelter itself. Jed Pedersen, the local timber frame contractor who has prepared the materials off site, has equipment rented for Monday next week, and he plans to start going vertical with that Monday. The other final component of that shelter project will be the roof and the underlayment underneath the roof. We're doing a tongue and groove underneath the roof so you don't see the metal from inside the shelter. That is being provided by Skyrite Roofing, local contractor. They're giving us a $5,000 contribution towards that. So we're getting that at basically half donated for the roof material itself and the labor. They are likewise, Cheryl's working on their contract right now. We expect to have that signed by the end of the week. They're ordering materials. They expect to be doing the roof 2 weeks from now. So we think 3 weeks from now, this shelter is going to be done, the rotary picnic shelter. What goes inside that shelter is actually what's on the agenda today, because we're going to look at some different options for picnic tables. I want to get your insight on picnic tables and a few other finishing touches for around the front of the sports center, the picnic shelter, the skate park, etc. The other material or item that arrived last week was the actual shade structure that came on a flatbed truck from Illinois, 2,100 pounds. I think Colton unloaded it with a Bobcat or a tractor, and that behemoth of piece of kit is on pallets outside of the shop at the park right now. We are also Cheryl's team. Cheryl's our contracts coordinator here. She is amending the contract with Thompson Fence, which did the baseball safety nets around ball fields 1 and 2, to do footers for that shade structure. So that, believe it or not, the piers that hold the shade structure up are 8 feet deep in the ground. So they're going to auger a 30 inch by 8 foot deep, two 30 inch by 8 foot deep holes in the southwest corner of the skate park to hold those that very heavy shade structure up. We won't actually put the shade up this year, but we will have the post installed before winter. So that there's no need for shade at this time of the year. But by summer next year, there's going to be a 450 square foot shaded area for the skaters to chill out in. And of course, in the late afternoon, that shade will be cast out across the skate park. It's going to be really nice. I did meet with the Backcountry Electric, who installed the skate park lights 2 days ago. They had some concerns about some of the some of the things going on at the skate park. You may have noticed there was like a long string of shoes hanging from one of the lights. We had the parks team remove that because we had concerns about the structural integrity of the lampposts when those shoes were to get wet and turn into 6 foot long icicles in the winter. So I'm hoping the skaters don't come back and keep throwing shoes up onto the lampposts. I know they think it's fun, but it risks failure of one of those lamps. Backcountry is going to come back and do a few other tweaks to those posts as well. There's been, not surprisingly, skaters are hard on stuff and they try to grind everything. Somehow they're trying to grind the base of the light lampposts as well, despite there being a whole new skate park for them. So those are some of the things that we're kind of finishing up right now. Thompson Fence is also coming back as they do the piers for the shade structure. They're going to put in the sleeves for the batting cages north of the James Joseph Sports Center. We're replacing the batting cages that were taken down almost 2 years ago now. And those are going to be, as you know, full-size turf batting cages, really nice. Similar to the ones we have at Memorial Field Park. Okay, so that brings me to, I'm going to share my screen. I've put together and I just want some input here. We've got a lot of options for some things we can add to the front of the sports center, to the park there, to kind of create some additional activities, amenities for park goers. So I'm going to share this sheet that I've been working on. It's one of the many things I'm trying to wrap up this fall, get some of these items ordered. So these are some, and I know it's hard to see. Let me zoom in. So some of the things we're looking to here before the end of the season are picnic tables, bike racks, possibly some outdoor at least one outdoor ping pong table that could go under the canopy. And then we had thought about some like a permanent outdoor cornhole. I haven't actually found a good example of that. And then possibly an outdoor game table. So I wanted to run by some options for you. I've got some prices and some links. So we'll look at some of these together and just want to give you an idea of what we're looking at. I don't know if you guys need to make any sort of formal recommendation, but you can't see my screen. Let me stop sharing and share again so you can see my screen. So this is the kind of table we're looking at for underneath the picnic shelter. Something different. We don't really have many round tables in our parks, but these are really good for gathering spaces. We think we can fit 5 or 6 of these in the 850 square foot picnic shelter. Most of the tables, and a lot of this just has to do with we have to get like 3 or 4 different quotes whenever we order anything. So this is just an ADA version that you could bring a wheelchair up to. There are some other options that are very similar from different companies. As you can see, it looks almost identical. So it might just come down to price. Here's a higher end one. Actually, I don't know what I think it's just the coating that's different here. But yeah, it's different kind of rubberized coating. But the one more expensive option that we've been offered is Kalispell Metalworks. These are the guys that did all the benches around the playground. So they all, those really cool, they're kind of the green with the black steel, and they've got the city logo like laser cut into them. So I'm kind of leaning towards going towards the more expensive Kalispell Metalworks custom round tables. They would be custom for us, and they'd be of the same style as the rest of the benches of the playground. So I just like to hear some thoughts from the commissioners about whether you think it's worth us spending a few thousand extra dollars to get something custom that matches the same style of all the other benches around the playground. Now, where's this money coming from? This is Parks Capital Improvement Fund. So if we spend an extra $5,000 on picnic tables, that is going to mean there's going to be $5,000 less for other parks improvements this year. So just keep that in mind. We've got a pot of money to work with for Parks Capital projects in 2026. Of course, your instinct will be, of course, you want to go with the more expensive picnic tables, but there is an opportunity cost. So it might mean a little bit less money for some other projects and other parks next year. But any thoughts on this? I mean, I don't have a picture of the Kalispell tables, but basically what they look like, because we've got about 12 of their benches in the park already. They would do a custom round table. They don't, I'll pull up one of
So
their,
I'm assuming those are fabricated in California.
in Usk.
Oh, okay.
Usk is
Oh,
where they're,
gotcha. Try.
yeah, well, hey, Gwen. You might want to say that for the record, Gwen.
Yeah.
I'm here.
For the record, Jen Peterson is here.
So would the tables that are being offered like in Uline, are those all imported?
Yep, those would all be, manufactured somewhere else and
Yeah.
flat packed and shipped out to us. So there's also the shipping costs would be included. So that I don't know what the shipping cost would be if we ordered 6 tables, but I'd assume $1,000 or something to ship all the tables.
Is that what we're looking at? Like about 6 tables?
Do the Kalispell tables
I
get
haven't-
assembled?
These are the Kalispell tables that they kind of already have made, but they would make a custom version of this that is round. Yeah, and but we could send the parks guys. It's an hour drive to Usk, so they'd go out there with the truck and just load them up on the truck and bring them back.
Right.
So we wouldn't have to pay.
So
them.
that's another option too there, right? Instead of going with custom circular tables, you could just go with something they already make.
We could. Yeah, and I don't know. You guys have thoughts? Is there a big advantage of going with the round tables versus rectangular tables?
I haven't seen the structure or its plan, so it's hard for me to answer that question. I've been out of town for the last like 10 days, so I missed the opening where the footprint was laid out.
Yeah.
Do you have?
I'd have
rendering
to,
or-
I don't have it at my
Sure.
fingertips. For it, so. I'm digging that up right now, but it's a Douglas fir locally milled timber frame structure with the classic timber frame, no metal hardware. It's all pins.
Octagon?
Oh, it's a rectangle. Yeah, it's 36 by 24 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, so we could go with rectangle or square, or sorry, rectangle or round. It's just a matter of kind of preference.
And the audience commented.
Yeah, let's let the commissioner speak, and then I think Taylor's comment from the
Yeah, absolutely.
participants. Yeah.
I'm personally always in favor of something that's regionally or locally fabricated. Imported. Even if that incurs cost. Cost of something imported right now might not be.
Yeah, when we say import, I don't think it means
Very
imported
deep.
from overseas. I think they're made in the US. They just come from another state.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that wasn't clear to me.
yeah, no, I think,
When
I
asked
don't know.
I assume the stuff from Uline was not domestic,
That's a good question.
like American made.
To dig a little deeper to determine whether it's actually imported from another, but it says made in the USA.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
great.
So I think these are gonna be, I think most of the options we have are gonna be US made. They
Yeah,
just come
yeah, yeah.
from, who knows?
But I mean, regional over.
Yeah.
Non-regional is still
Yeah.
worth something too.
And Kalispell Metalworks has been great to work with in the past. They did all our benches. They did the James E. Russell sign inside the lobby, custom sign. They did the city of Sandpoint logos that we have in a couple places, the steel cut ones. Any
It
other
would be
thoughts?
interesting to see with shipping what those U-line ones would be, because the gap might not be that much, honestly.
Yeah.
Consider being able to go pick up the ones from Usk and versus having to ship them from.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts from Commissioners Taylor, Tyler? Gwen, do you have a thought? We're discussing, do we want to go with something a little bit cheaper, that picnic shelter for a couple of the locations around Travis Park? Or do we want to go with something made locally? That kind of matches the aesthetic of the other benches that we already have in the park?
Go with what these folks have said, because I, like Taylor, haven't been connected to really make a educated. I do always like saving money, and I know we're short on money.
I
I
think
would-
the long tables solve your ADA issue too. They're just kind of automatically ADA
Yeah,
accessible.
because you could wheelchairs can go right up to
We
you.
do try
Yeah.
and put at least one ADA table in every picnic shelter.
If we went with rectangle, though, they're all ADA accessible. Okay, so do I hear kind of a suggestion of going with the local?
I had a comment.
Go ahead, Josh.
So I guess I could be in favor of it. It's hard for me to know, how much budget we have left and what these other projects are. Would be kind of my only concern is, are we missing out on something else by upgrading these tables? But I really don't know the answer to that because I'm not sure what else is on the project list. Do you have something like that we could look at?
Their exercise. It should be in your inbox right
So
now.
could we approach Kalispell about doing sponsorships for tables? Hey, get your logo engraved on a table and buy it.
You mean for like a discount?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, possibly, but I already asked for a quote. This is what they gave me,
okay.
the $2,000.
Well,
We could also,
somebody
if we did decide just to go with the rectangular tables, they're the same price as all the round tables from the other providers. So we could get the local Kalispell made tables and we could choose the colors that already match the colors of what we have. That might be, then we're not paying for shipping either, because hopefully seeing things right up there.
Well, then there's no question that would be the cheapest option.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just matching, also address the ADA.
And being local.
And support local, regional.
Yeah. People like that idea, kind of go with the already available option. So. Taylor, do you want to ask the public if they have any thoughts?
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking things over in my head here. Think, yeah, I mean, local is matching is appealing, but I second Josh's thoughts that without knowing kind of what our budget is and what these numbers would actually come in at, you pull from somewhere, you're gonna build it over here, you gotta pull it from somewhere else. So I'm just not sure right now, but yeah, if you guys would like to speak on this,
That's something to say, but I just kind of covered it. I was just gonna say, our friends at library and the round tables we bought for the area, the garden area, they are neat. People do gather around them, but they are very expensive.
thank you.
Okay, other items that we're looking at for finishing up at Travis Park, we've got the picnic tables. I don't think I need to show you all the different bike rack options. There are some kind of premium bike rack options, but we are going to replace the wave rack that's in front of JER right now. That was always temporary. Those wave racks don't even actually conform to our own city standards because bikes tend to fall over when you put them on a wave rack. So we're looking at several different rack options that conform to our own standards. You've seen these styles. There's some more artistic styles. Maybe I will ask your opinion on whether you think it's worth paying, up to $900 for a bike rack for something a little bit more artistic. So there are,
Simply for the art part.
yeah, like, do we value this sort of, there's several different, this is one company that makes these kind of artistic racks. They've got several different options here. So what are the different styles? They've got butterflies, they've got a few different ones. But something like this, you're looking at like $500 per rack, and then there was an even more expensive option. Oh, that one's in our test drive.
How many racks are being considered?
We need about 6 for in front of the picnic shelter, and then probably another 6 in front of the building. So, and each of those holds 2 bikes. So you're talking enough for like 24 bikes or so between those 2 locations.
We need 12.
Yeah, so
$500 difference.
yeah, so we're looking at about 20, if we get the cheaper options, which is something like that first one I showed you, about $2,400 worth of bike racks. It's not a huge expense, but If we went with something more expensive, you could easily go up to like $7,000 in bike racks.
I'm all, I mean, I'm all for including art, in places, but I think we could make the case that there's already a fair bit of that out there in different ways, and I think to me, a bike rack is a utility.
Yeah.
Component, it's there for a specific purpose. I don't necessarily need my bike rack to be artistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I second that as well.
Yeah,
Okay, so save a little money on bike racks.
yeah,
Not go with the $900 option, go with the $220 option.
something that works.
I was kind of hoping you
And
guys
it's
would say that.
convenient.
Yeah.
And the art can be another.
Is there a preference between this T style versus loop style? I don't know, you guys have experience with either. I think these tend to be really, because the more surface area you have to lean your bike against, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
That's why
agree.
that's why the wave racks are so, you've only got one bar. This is there needs to be 2 point of contacts.
Those are artistic in itself. I like it.
They kind of are.
That's closer to what's downtown, for example, so there's some precedent.
Well, there's also just very simple U racks.
Can we get a color choice? with
Yeah,
the
yeah. We can
particular
just-
one?
We'll probably stick
Maybe
with
you
kind
wanna
of the,
The tables, whatever table color you
Yeah.
get. You go with the blue or green or.
oh, then there's the typical U rack. This is what we have all over downtown Sandpoint. So we've got kind of 3 options there. The kind of the T rack, the loop, or a traditional U rack.
I like the circle.
Yeah, I like the circle too.
Those the artistic ones. Do other people like the circle? Should we go with circles? They're nearly as cheap as the U racks, just a little bit. All right,
I know we're talking about bikes, but are there other things, scooters or anything that would make, that any would be
Right.
advantageous towards? I don't know that much about it.
I
your
think
bike rack
a
is pretty-
scooter would lean fine against any of these.
The circular one?
The circular one is $275 for the circle bike rack, so it's a little bit more. Then the cheapest is the U.
It's
the U
$50
rack.
times 12.
Yes, you're talking. No, yeah, we probably need about 12
$100.
total. About $600 difference to go between the T and the circle. I think that's not a deal though for. If we like the circle, we can go with that.
It's gonna be the same.
Yeah, they're all surface mounted. You just bolt them into the ground. By the way, everybody, this is Colton. He's our parks crew members. I invited him here today because when we get to the item on the agenda later, some of the projects we're gonna be looking at for next year. I wanted Colton here so we could talk about what can the parks crews do versus what our contractor is going to be needed for. These guys do some amazing work on their own. They can do concrete, they can do asphalt. I think they can do all sorts of stuff that you might otherwise have to hire a professional
Try to
contractor.
be the jack of all trades.
Yeah, that's right. And they're, a lot of construction experience as well. Okay, this is another one that came up. In fact, before we opened, we had community members asking whether we were going to have ping pong at this. Did you have a morning ping pong league there? So we've thought for a while about getting some indoor ping pong tables, just the standard ones you can fold up and slide into the corner. But with all the space we have under the canopy, the idea came up of getting something like a very heavy duty outdoor ping pong table that could live under the canopy area. And then just have free paddles available inside. Anybody can come grab them. So you can go really big on
That
outdoor
fits
ping pong
the
tables.
mounted, like that's gonna have to be. in
We
a
could,
specific-
we could secure it to the ground, just like we have our benches outside so that they don't walk away. But that thing right there weighs about 400 pounds. So, kids aren't gonna necessarily be lifted up and it'll be bolted to the ground anyway. But there's also, you can do something really elaborate like this as well.
Will you just refresh my memory on where this money is coming from?
Parks Capital Improvement Fund. So that's the revenues from all of our parks. There's the really heavy duty ones like this that. You need a forklift to move something like this into place. Weighs nearly 2,000 pounds, made out of concrete. No need to secure that one to the ground. And there are many other concrete ping pong tables like this as well. So what do people think about an outdoor ping pong table? Let me pull up one more here for you to look at
Would that be installed?
when it arrives.
So like sooner?
I have no idea what the lead times are on these things. I mean,
I
yeah,
think the timing is interested. My initial reaction is just like, seems like we're short on money.
well,
it's-
the new fiscal year started last week. So we've kind of reset and we're gonna talk a little more about where our budget comes from for parks projects.
That would be my, I guess. I think it'd be wise to look at all the plans for the year,
Mhm.
because there's been so much revenue or money put into that facility versus some of the other parks in the
I agree.
city.
Yeah, it's hard to make these decisions without seeing the whole picture. Can't justify.
So it's like, I'm just saying this, that's,
I think they're cool concepts, and like maybe somebody would donate that, or like if we,
yeah,
You know,
maybe
it's for the
get a
future.
sponsor logo on.
we've put so much into that facility.
Mm.
And it needs to start proving it can pay for itself with the plan, and that's just my personal opinion before we keep, because there's improvements we want to make at Hickory Park and parks.
Can I ask if there are rules on advertising or sponsors within city park facilities?
We have a city sponsorship policy now that allows for sponsorship of park facilities.
I just think there's a lot of cool stuff that get a business to stick their name on it and pay for it.
Yeah,
Look at that
Yeah.
new scoreboard for baseball at War Memorial.
Yeah.
STCU.
yeah, the STCU gave $25,000 for
Yeah.
the scoreboard. Yeah. No, that's a good idea, like, to get a little sponsorship catalog.
I mean, one thought
Yeah.
would be like around the holidays to be like, here's our holiday wish list, your logo could be on it. And this is how much it'll cost you, and you can donate it.
There are, of course,
Right.
philosophies around that, like, I know the previous parks director wasn't a fan of like polluting the parks with corporate logos.
Mhm.
But you can get nice things if you let companies pay for it. Sometimes that you might not get otherwise.
Yeah, I think about that little ice rink out in Ponderay, Lions Board, it's got all sorts of local businesses, that was typical. Grassroots,
Yeah.
And it looks like the city, there's precedents that we've done it.
But we just introduced our sponsorship policy last year. Actually, it was earlier this year, maybe it was last year. So it's still very new. It's kind of a project that we want to continue developing, is this sponsorship program.
Yeah.
And I think we can do it just with intention, right? We're not just gonna like slap a bunch of sponsorships everywhere and ruin the vibe of the park. But it is worth exploring.
Wish list is kind of a cool idea because you might have something that resonates with somebody for ping pong. Oh, wow, I'd love to have a ping,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and could be an end of year, like tax off kind of a.
This could also get
time.
time naming opportunities for families, like we've done that in the park system before, and like the why, Heidi, don't we do something like that? Like they like have ornaments for sale.
Yeah, I mean, like we've recently transitioned to a similar model, like in order to get new benches put in the natatorium or the aquatic center. We allowed people to put their logos, like, it's nothing crazy, but just something small. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely an advocate, as long as it doesn't take away from the whole overall look of the park, but I think it could be done really professionally in a way that, like Jason said, we can get a lot of cool things. And I also agree, I guess, what Gwen had said earlier is to just be cognizant of where we're putting our funds right now. Because I think that from a community standpoint, people are feeling like we are dumping a lot of money into the JER Center, and maybe not allowing some of the other parks to get the same attention.
So besides bike racks, benches, picnic tables and ping pong, what else did you have
There's,
to consider?
I think from what I'm hearing, like the nice to haves, let's hold off on that.
Yeah,
The need to haves, we need picnic tables. We can't
Yeah.
finish up,
yeah,
and we need to have bike racks.
I would
So-
agree.
So let's focus on that, and maybe we can do a sponsorship opportunity next
For our
spring.
want list.
Yeah, the
Need
nice to
versus
have,
want.
not the need to have.
Okay, that's noted, so I'll
Dear
proceed.
Santa.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's all I had for you as far as those final touches at Traverse then.
You had it listed as an action item. Do you need a vote?
Well, not really. I think I got the advice that I was looking for, which was to focus on the need to has for now, to finish out the shelter and the bike racks. Okay.
Question,
Sure.
can I ask about the netting on the baseball fields? It seemed to me that ended up being a little small or short. Is that true or my,
What do you think, Dan? I think they're about 20, how tall are they, Colton? That's,
seemed like you.
I saw the post, I haven't seen the netting.
well, they haven't been up yet because there's been no baseball play since they've done. About
It's
24 feet or so.
saw them up there.
No, I think, have the nets ever been up?
On it.
I mean,
It just seemed pretty easy. I could smack a foul over that into the playground.
yeah, it's all, I mean, probably will happen. I mean, it's all by how close is the plate to the backstop, right? The closer you are to the backstop, the less likely you are to have foul balls go over, but. I mean, those are primarily used for softball more than baseball. That's fields 1 and 2.
They just
And
look
they're
small.
typically for the younger levels, younger age groups. I mean, will the ball, I'd imagine balls will go over. It's less. Baseball's played on fields 3.
My daughter played on field 1 and 2, and 2, or went over than 1, but like, that's why I kept bringing it up, because I was there and seeing it happening. Like, and kids on the playground having no idea. And like their plan was to have somebody from Little League in the park collecting the fly balls. That's not really how baseball works.
Is that baseball or softball?
Softball, I mean, but anything, when there's fly balls, like not one person can always get it. And there's like seas of kids. I mean, there's a lot of activity there during those games, because there's again, like limited seating now. There's nowhere for the people to really go very easily. So it's just
Well,
lots of people in that playground area.
So it's just gonna be vertical netting, not like a netting roof spanning across the,
Like a cage,
yeah.
cage net. It'll be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah.
It's probably be there.
better than nothing.
Better than no net.
Taylor, back to you.
Um. Let's see, our next order is, Parks Capital Project fiscal year 26.
You might ask one more time if anybody.
Oh,
wants to-
geez, I'm sorry, everybody. Anybody have any comments on, all that? Just, if you would just state your name and whether you're a city resident.
Ivan Lamar, 1 Aspen Lane, city resident. Just for your information, these are the 2 other property owners whose properties Jason share a common property line. Do I need to stand or?
So you need to stand.
You couldn't tell the difference.
And you're talking with JT Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see, I mean, just making some, not silly comments, but I see here that we are trying to spend money, and I applaud what you're doing to make the people, when they go to the park, have a real experience. I would plead that you do the same compassion for those of us that share a property line with the park. I'm not gonna kick over any old bones or anything else, but I think they will agree with me, you can say, is that we were never really truly aware of the massivity of that building. It was 42 feet tall. It's a monster, it's the size of 2 gigantic aircraft carriers. I mean, we knew it was a building, but I mean, I don't remember ever seeing the plan, or I didn't attend every meeting, but here, this update. But anyway, we're all learning to deal with it by planting trees along our property lines and everything else we can to block it off. My concern is, and as theirs is the noise right now being produced by the exhaust system of the building. I don't hear it as much as they do because it's closer to them. My concern, though, is when this was being proposed 2-3 years ago, I asked about whether or not you intended to light up that field at night, A, and B, about the batting cage, which wasn't located there. You actually had it located in the wetlands on the other side, which I thought was an issue. And I was told, well, we haven't decided that right now. So I see we're talking about a batting cage. And if a batting cage is gonna be lit at night. Now, understand, I know the city's changing, but when I built that subdivision, I built those subdivisions. I looked out at 7 acres with a playground and kids and trees and quiet. And you could look up and see the stars. Now, at night, there's quite a bit of light off that north end of the building. And if there's gonna be a batting cage with lights, and if there's gonna be a field lit up, I think you're doing a disservice to the property owners along those lines. Certainly, this is not doing anything for our property values, but secondly, it's just taking away sort of a piece of Sandpoint that we originally were there for. So the batting cage, unless it's already been committed to, I mean, if you're gonna put it in, put it over on the west side of the building. Why do we need to have anything more on our side? And if you're gonna be putting that in there and there's no, somebody mentioned maybe a wall or do something, but I just asked that, if it was your property and this was built right next to your property on a 7 acre site, actually better part 24 acre site, if you take the land north. There's a lot of about it. You'd understand where I'm coming from. And I watched it go up and I built big steel buildings like that, past a lot. I watched it going up one day and I was like, holy. I couldn't believe how tall that thing was gonna be. No idea it was gonna be that tall. Still don't even understand why it has to be that tall. Hey. I've just been in construction 55 years, what do I know?
Could you clarify who you spoke to when you mentioned that you had asked if it would be lit and, where it was gonna be built, like 3 to 4 years ago?
Well, originally there was a plan, then he and I had disagreements on this, and I'm sorry, I just don't have time to go search it out. Originally, the plan that looked at that building was going to be on the west part.
Yeah, because I recall that I've been on the Parks and Rec Commission for a long time, but we were,
Well, this would have Parks and Rec, this would have been talking either at P and Z or city
Yeah.
council.
this just kind of got started in the last year, the Parks and Rec Commission, even though, yeah, I've held it close to my heart for years too. I've been here 20 years. So I know that mostly happened not on this commission's, formal appointment.
But anyway, all I'm asking is that, could I get a clarification from the city, or we momentarily representing them, don't speak on their
Or
own?
so I'm gonna speak.
Yeah, but if we could get I personally would like to get a clarification on whether or not the batting cage is going to be there, right? Building, and is it going to be lit? And what are its hours of operation going to be? And the other one is that field the one that's designated to be lit at night? I mean, I'd like to know.
Which field?
What idea, the one right.
Field 3 is the one you're north of the building.
North of the
I
building.
don't think there's lighting proposed in any fields at this time.
No.
is there?
Nor would the batting cages be lit.
Well,
I mean, there's big picture plans to eventually even flip those fields because the fields have poor irrigation and they're like facing the wrong way. And I know we don't have enough money to do it, but like that would help solve the playground issue.
this whole project had plan A, plan B, plan C,
Yeah.
plan D, plan X, plan Y, and then this is what we got, so.
I'll share on the screen again, I've got the adopted master plan
The
for Travis
adopted,
Park,
yeah.
2020.
I have a copy of that.
This actually shows the batting cages being relocated, not to the other side of the fields, but just a little bit to the north. So north is on our left here. So it's
Mhm.
actually just over here is where it was originally envisioned. But keep in mind that this plan also called for,
Could you go back to where you're pointing about at?
Yeah.
Your cursor, it's
right,
like,
I'm
oh, I
outlined
see, it's so
it
small.
right here.
Yeah.
Let me zoom
Yeah,
in. So
that would help me be that you could point to it.
Yeah.
People who can't see, like.
Yeah.
I
I've
can't.
got it. I've got it. This is the existing path. There are houses all around here. Can't really see where, but this is all residential neighborhood. So Aspen Lane's right in the middle of this. So the 2020 master plan envisioned moving the batting cages slightly over here, not across the park. But keep in mind, look at what else the 2020 master plan envisioned. This was just estimated to be around a $30 million plan. Artificial turf fields over here, completely relocating batting cages, relocating all the baseball fields, putting new soccer fields in, running north-south over here. Additional soccer fields where there aren't any right now, building 16 new pickleball courts and 4 new tennis courts, in addition to 16 pickleball courts.
Does that have the building, the JER building in it?
No, it did
Yeah.
not.
So,
No, that's what I mean. So why did we end up building a building when we had a plan that called for $30 million of parks plans? Because we didn't have $30 million, but we did have $8 million for a
Yeah.
building. So you build what you have money for, and we never had money for a $32 million.
Page in this, I don't.
I've got it out. It's over here. I outlined it with the blue square.
Oh, yeah, I see. it.
Yeah.
So this is, I think that's the Hastings house right there. And this is your house, Ivan, right across from that. So it would have been about the same distance from your house, Ivan, as it is currently, but the existing batting cages were in the same place. So we're just replacing them where they were instead.
Which is on
As in the same way that we're not changing anything else about the park. That was an impact.
the question now, is the north side of the building as near to the building as possible, or?
No, I mean,
Between the
it's,
building
it's,
and the
you can
field.
see it. It's just there's an asphalt pad ready to go.
You can pull an aerial maybe?
Yeah, like on
Is that
Bonner County.
County aerials.
Bonner County GIS might.
It's probably the spring, so you can see the building.
Is this plan to be lit and open at night, you're dropping coins and people in out of it?
No, this is gonna be like club
If
captive.
it's daylight operation only, personally, I don't care. I don't think they would be
Well,
care just for me to. start.
So I have a question, Sharon Strand, I own one of these properties. Change the plan without any input, without any community input, public, you just decide, yeah, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna put over there, right in your fence. What authority do you have to do that?
I don't have any authority. So over 3 years, made all these decisions.
Believe me, I don't see any discussion about moving the batting cage.
The
I'm
batting
trying to
cage is
get-
not
You didn't respond,
correct, and the batting cage is not. Sure. It's staying exactly where it's been for 20 years.
not in this diagram.
What I'm saying is nothing in that diagram is going to exist in our lifetime. Unlikely. That's a concept that was made by a firm out of Boulder, Colorado 6 years ago. And we do not have the resources to implement almost anything in that concept.
And this is what we refer to as a master plan.
It's a concept, yes. We have master plan concepts for all of our streets, for all of our facilities, for all of our parks. We pursue and implement projects as funding becomes available. That's not to say that what's in a conceptual plan is necessarily going to be delivered upon. If council and the mayor had pursued components of this plan and we had funding available, we would possibly see 16 outdoor pickleball courts, or we would see, turf softball fields in the west of the park, but we do not have the resources for those.
Show me or send to me where this was discussed and approved. I don't see it.
Sure, what you're talking about, the Parks and Recreation Master Plan from 2020.
The discussion that moved the batting cage from here to the north side of the building.
There was never a discussion about moving the batting cage. That's why they're in the place that they are. Because we don't have any plans to move the batting cages.
So I'm gonna pause everybody for a second here. We do have a lot of things to get through, so I just want to keep this to an orderly discussion. If you'd like to provide a comment, you're more than welcome to do so, but this isn't a forum where it's back and forth. Ask all questions. So
I'm Jackie Hanna.
thank you,
And
Jack.
I'll try to just about my concern. I have a concern about the HVAC system, and I understand there's gonna be a wall put up to help mitigate the sound. I'm asking, is that the case? Or how is that might dealt with? Asking that, and also on the batting cages, if I've heard there might be a batting machine or something, would there be hours that would be limited? Would it be,
There's no talk of getting a pitching machine. That would
okay,
be-
pitching machine,
The
yeah,
leagues would come use it for batting practice like they do it.
okay, so I read about that in the paper, okay. So those would be my questions on, I have a question on the HVAC system, because I get up at 5:30 in the morning and it's running, and I get up, go to bed at 9 o'clock at night and it's still running. It's running, I think 24 hours a day. You can hear it, at the back of our house. So, will it be dealt?
Has there been talk about a wall?
Well, so the neighbors have all filed noise abatement requests, and the police are investigating that to determine
Gotcha.
whether there's
Yeah.
actually a noise
I
violation.
missed our last meeting, we're not fired, so the meeting before that, I remember hearing about that there was noise issues, but I didn't jump to if we had.
We don't know what
Yeah.
a noise abatement solution might be for that.
You all submitted your recommendations, city? Do you have recommendations?
filed, a complaint.
Right,
I don't know how to rectify it. There's
no solution, yeah,
No, not every time.
yeah,
But I do think that, a good neighbor would, the city should be a good neighbor, would help us with this issue. Because we can't be out in our backyard like anymore, sitting in a hammock or anything without getting it run.
Wasn't there something with the calibration initially where those units got,
We had the HVAC contractor come out months ago and do some recalibration that reduced the noise level.
Yeah, they could have replaced the exhaust. I'm a general contractor, 55 years, built a lot of big. Can't say I've ever done something quite like that, but I built big aircraft types. But I mean, that whole HVAC unit could have been flipped right around, could have had the exhaust pointing west. Maybe we would add some dollars to it, but I mean, some thought, some sincere thought wasn't really given to us. Saying, we like these people, we want to put in fancy bicycle racks, or everybody can say, woo, woo, but, just face it this way. See what I'm trying to say? So, I mean, I've gotten used to the size of the building, trying to get used to the noise of the building. Just please don't make it any worse on us. Please, you got eggs. Put somewhere else.
Is there room to plants around the HVAC system?
It's mostly asphalt concrete, I think.
Yeah. Just wondering if there's a solution that,
Well, you can't put the unit around, it's too late. They can put them up.
well, when I got noisy neighbors too, and my solution was I put a bunch of bushes and trees behind my house
That's
and,
what we're doing,
right, and
all of us.
I wonder if we could do that around the HVAC, that's all.
Evergreen trees.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you, speaking, I'm done, your time. I appreciate it, I thank you very much. And yes, if you, confirmation that they ain't gonna be lit or anything else, no more surprises, please, please. Election time coming up here, we got to hear.
no, it can be fine. At the end of the day, we have,
Right, it all goes to
Right.
council.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good evening.
sorry for the hardship.
Can I comment now?
Yeah.
I'm Sharon Strand, one of these that is, but we are the most directly involved. We're right behind. And side of our yard is the BMX track and the other side of our yard is the path. Right at field 3. And you asked if we brought things to the city has stopped responding to us. So I tried to contact the mayor, get no response. So it's been very difficult to get any information about what's happening. If I heard you right, Jason, right now, so I thought the plan was a fence with some sound mitigation in front of the fence, a tall fence. It's going
I
to,
think you've been in touch with Lieutenant Ernie of the police department.
my husband,
Yeah, so Lieutenant Ernie's been assessing the noise levels to determine whether it's elevated to a level where there is a nuisance. So that's up to the police to determine at this point. That's why the police should be your point of contact.
so you're saying police will determine if there's a nuisance and then that will determine
Whether a mitigation is needed.
So the plan of a fence and muffles.
There's never been a plan for a fence and noise mitigation. If there's not determined to be a nuisance, there won't be a further mitigation.
It's in the minutes. So, thank you for clarifying that. The other point I have is the batting cage, the location. Okay, I disagree with that, but secondarily, it's much expanded from what it used to be, 70 feet. The batting cage is directly behind our. So we will be the hearing the batting. Ivan said I would reiterate, just your neighbors, put yourself in our place. Like a batting cage, would you like an HVAC? I think we're trying to be good neighbors and I ask that you do too.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to Sandpoint, City Parks Capital Improvement.
Open once can join us. I had a handout for everybody. Now, if you're on Zoom, I did email this to you guys. Hopefully you can have a look as well. I apologize, I didn't get this posted like with your agenda a couple days ago, guys, but very, very busy around here, as you can imagine. So I worked this up, just for you today. A little bit of background and then kind of looking forward. I do want to do a quick exercise with you. You've got about 35 minutes left. So I think we should have time to get through this. I do think there's a couple agenda items, so let's try to keep it to 25 minutes. If you just want to scan the first page, space a little background, like where have we been in the last 6 or 7 years of Parks Capital projects? To sum it up, we've spent a lot of money on Parks Capital projects in the last decade. Of course, we had a local option tax for 7 years that raised almost $9 million, probably more than that. That money went into the War Memorial Field complete rebuild. You've got the turf, you've got the new baseball, softball fields, you've got the new boat launch, you've got the new moorage, you've got the new parking lot, you've got stormwater treatment, you've got new lights, you've got everything. So that was about a $9 million project completed in 2022, I believe. Immediately after that project wrapped up, the Russells came to us with a $7.5 million donation, the largest to any city in the history of the state of Idaho. That was combined with over $1 million in grants that was raised by Maeve, who did an outstanding job procuring grants for the city. And we ended up putting almost $10 million into Traverse Park over the last few years. Of course, we're at the very, very end of that right now. Very little money left to spend beyond what you guys kind of gave me feedback on today with the bike racks and the picnic tables. Thank goodness. But we are entering now kind of a normal era of revenue and expenditures in parks capital improvements. Now, there are a lot of grant opportunities still, so depending on what this commission wants to place its priorities on, I tried to just quickly add to our little table here some of the grants that I think we might be able to go for some of these projects. But what I'd like to do with you today is think about what we can just focus on with the money that we have next year. Now, we've had this conversation several times in recent months. Our basic kind of foundation starting point for parks capital improvement funds every year is $300,000. Now, we do make more than that in our parks, but we have to set aside quite a bit for some known costs. For example, we're putting aside about $65,000 a year for eventual replacement of the turf at Memorial Field. So out of the 400 or so that we get in revenue from the RV park, from the moorage, from use of Memorial Field by the high school, by all the sports teams in town, use of the Traverse Sports Complex, et cetera, we end up with about $300,000, give or take. More likely give. We probably, when you guys ask about how much money do you actually have, it's not a fixed number, right? We've got about 300,000 in the budget, but there's a little bit of carryover from last year, for example. So we don't have to like have a hard target of $300,000. There's money available when we need to do things, when the timing is right, when we have opportunities that we can spend a little bit more here and there. So when we talk about the difference between like the really nice bike racks or the cheaper bike racks is $600, that's why I'm like, let's go with what you guys like, because $600 is nothing in the big picture here. So just to give you that context, like I'm not thinking about every penny when it comes to this stuff, but where I'm thinking within the realm of like 300, 320, 350 at the most.
Do we foresee a reduction in the revenue though, if we offer less rec programming?
Rec programming had never supported parks capital improvements.
Gosh,
Rec programming supports recreation coaches. Rec programming paid for rec program.
so the 300,000 is pretty consistent, or it sounds like only more.
The biggest chunk of that is $253,000, I think, this year in moorage fees.
More, yeah.
And those are very predictable. We are every year we're going to lease every single boat slip. And though that hasn't been proposed to increase dramatically, but it's definitely not going to decrease because we're at about 60% below market rate for moorage in the city right now. We don't have all the amenities that a private marina does, but we're a steal. We're never going to have a problem leasing out all of our moorage. So every year we're going to have that 250,000 coming in. And for the 4 years we've run the RV park, that's been around $100,000 a year as well. If we put $1 million into the RV park, I expect to see that number increase. So I do hope that parks capital improvement revenue will increase once we have a really nice RV park.
The 300 by 4.
Yeah, we could see like, let's say maybe an extra 50,000 coming into RV if we have higher occupancy at the RV park, because it turns out it's really nice.
And
How
remind us
often
too with the parking money that's gonna be implemented next year.
Parking money will never go into the Parks Capital Improvement Fund.
And it will not be spent on inside parks.
That's to be determined.
Gotcha.
We don't know yet. We have a parking improvement fund.
Yeah.
So some of that might go into the parking improvement fund to maintain parking lots and to expand parking in the future. Some of it's likely to go to the general fund. There's been talk about possibly like a downtown improvement fund, so that downtown parking revenue can go into improving downtown infrastructure. But we don't yet know exactly where it's gonna go. That'll probably be a question for the next year's budget, once we start to see parking revenue come in.
But kind of like a lot of these projects, like when my brain thinks about stuff that's this expensive, it's like. You think about not just this year, but like the next 5 years,
Sure.
because like $150,000 that we have left isn't that much.
Isn't that much?
But if you're thinking then next year it's 300.
Yeah.
300,
Maybe 350 if we, get some new RV revenue in the following years.
that's really the only source of revenue, or increasing the mortgage
But,
fees.
right, but also, let me step back. It's not the only source of revenue.
Mhm.
We also have our parks impact fee fund.
Mhm.
Okay, so do you all remember what the limitations are on impact fee dollars, though? A little bit different than parks capital improvement dollars. We can't improve existing infrastructure with impact fee dollars. We can expand access to amenities with impact fee dollars. We can either build new parks, acquire new parkland, or provide more amenities in our existing parks.
And
So
that's
if we want to add 2 new beach volleyball courts, totally justified to use impact fee dollars for that. If we want to add a third boat launch to City Beach or expand our docks, we can use impact fee dollars for that, because that's serving new growth. It's maintaining the level of service as our community grows.
Is there a formula for how much you think will come in that fund?
Well, that totally depends on building permits. So the formula is like, what's the interest rate, and that is determined, and what are builders doing in our community? For example, the Farm and Flats project is gonna bring in like $350,000. I mean, it's gonna be huge. That one apartment building
Yeah.
alone is gonna add over $300,000 to our parks impact fee fund. So that's outstanding. Like, that's a really good thing.
But you don't really have a budgeting projection for that fund.
No, it's because we don't know. I mean, we have so many projects in the pipeline. The fact is, half of them will never get to building permit. But we just don't know. We have an idea of we know how much is in the fund now. We also know what the big things that the city has talked about doing with that money are. All-foot disc golf course. You've got the Union Pacific right of way. So if we were to do either of those right now, it would take almost all that money. So when we look at this table here and I say, like, what is growth's share of these projects? That's like on the high end. If we decided to use impact fee dollars, we could put like, $130,000 towards the Cedar Park improvements. That's actually a completely new park. So we could pay for the whole improvements to Cedar Park up in North Sandpoint using impact fee dollars. Do we want to do that? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it would serve new growth that has occurred in that area in the last 20 years. But that's kind of what I wanted to get from you guys today. So this table is right out of our impact fee study. We had to create this for the impact fee study. It shows our 10-year parks capital improvement plan. It shows the estimated cost in today's dollars, and then growth's share. So how much of each of these projects could we justify using impact fee dollars for? The rest would come either from park CIP dollars or grant money. Okay. So I pulled out 7 or so that I thought, 8, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that I thought were like possibly attainable next year. And what I wanted to have you guys do is kind of score these using your own opinions. What better way just to have each of you, I'm going to give each of you 100 points, and I'd like you to allocate your 100 points across A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and H. And if there are any other projects that you think we should be discussing that aren't on that table, let's discuss them now and add them to our tables if we think that there's something that I'm missing here. But these are ones that are actually on our park CIP plan. The only one that's not on our park CIP plan, but one that's been discussed recently in
So the green ones you're saying are from this table. And this table is our 10-year plan.
correct.
And these are the ones that.
Yeah, there are 2 that aren't on the 10-year plan, the Euclid right-of-way water access and the beach volleyball court.
Can you explain what
Expansion.
Yeah, what is that?
water exits? Where's that?
If you go down Euclid, get to the end of Euclid,
South end.
yep. We own all the way out into the water. So that's public right. There's been
Are
talk
you
about,
thinking like non-motorized? Like?
oh, no, yeah. Just be like some stone steps down to the beach, maybe a couple picnic tables, like a paved path down to the water. You'd have to sit down there. That's our right of way. There's been talk for quite a while in City Hall about, let's do something with it. The neighbors down there, I was on the phone with Forrest Klein yesterday. He's been sending me emails. He sent a letter through an attorney to the city. He's like, hey, we live here. The 2 neighbors are Tim Rickert and Forrest Klein. They're like, we want the city to do something with this property, because when we're gone, who knows what's going to happen to it? The next neighbors might come in and claim it as their own or something. So it's not going to happen. We're not actually worried about that.
What space is it?
It's big. It's like You know, it's like the size of Third Avenue Pier Park about here, like it's a pretty large area. It's public. People walk their dogs down there, swim their dogs down there. It's, I mean, residents of South Sandpoint are already using it, but it's not an established park. So I did put it here because we've had conversations internally about possibly improving that as a little neighborhood park. New public access to the water. There's never going to be a parking lot there, but it would be a, you know, a destination for pedestrians and cyclists to come, go for a swim. Things like that.
I guess it's hard to say if it doesn't have a price tag associated with it.
Well, I just don't know what the scope is. What do we want to do? Could be a $50,000 project, could be a.
The beach volleyball court expansion, that would be in addition to the 2 new courts.
No, that is.
That's.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. I mean, I've been bugging Austin and Colton about that for weeks now.
Be pretty
Yeah.
simple for
You
us
guys
to do
breaking
as
ground
well.
on
So
that.
Yeah, that's
not like
all.
we're gonna need-
Yeah.
It's a lot of youth. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
there's people down
During
there.
the summer, it's packed.
Yeah.
And absolutely packed.
That's one I think we're gonna find the money for, and I put $20,000 here, that's probably the high end. All we really have to do is buy the sand and the telephone poles that we use for posts, and then it's gonna be mostly a self-perform thing. 20,000 is probably pretty high.
you get a post, somebody.
Yeah,
So,
Well, we get them down here.
McFarland.
it would,
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the times we can get posts from them, especially cut ends, because with that, it's not like you're gonna need 30 foot or
Yeah.
even be able to go quite a
They've
bit.
donated for the city in the past too. I think they donated for the wood piling that went in at the launch it.
One thing I don't see on here that I think could be a benefit is like maybe down at City Beach. That's the north side, I guess. Maybe somewhere like, I see a lot of people on stand-up paddleboards and stuff that kind of go around Windbag Marina and they kind of go out and up and around there. I think it'd be really cool if they had maybe some type of storage down by the beach there. And I have no idea what that stuff costs, but I think it would get used and I don't know. I don't know exactly what that looks like. I just know
like
there's a lot.
like
of
stand up
people-
paddle, kayak storage.
Like moorage for paddleboard.
Right.
They did that in Alaska, like in the marinas, just where there was space, you could rent a kayak rack. We lived in Sitka. you could
So you don't have to.
Have a kayak rack, so you don't have to haul that
Pull
up.
that, we can just pull that into the storage we already do, right?
I mean, where you had real estate on a dock, you could stack probably 4 of those or something on a
Right.
dock.
That's super.
It wasn't like a huge revenue stream, but it was convenient.
I think it's.
I'm sure
it benefits.
Yeah, I'm sure it's well
People do it.
appreciated.
Yeah, Cammy, do you think there'd be demand for that if we had?
There's always been demand for that.
Yeah.
One of the stumbling points that we've encountered in the past was how you would anchor it, and where you would put it, like so that in a windstorm, everybody's kayaks aren't all over everybody's boats.
These were like, I mean, the one that I could probably ask somebody, they were like dock mounted. So they were on the dock, you know, not obviously obstructing traffic, but you know, to the side of the dock, although. These are very different types of dock systems here than what is used up north. Up north, everything's robust. It's
Like
commercial
the,
arena.
the
you know.
dry dock is the only fixed dock, the
Yeah.
rest of them raise and lower with the water level, so.
Well, those all did too, because the title changes, but they were typically timber.
Right.
Not,
The newer docks down at the beach and down at the Windbag, are they wide enough that they could still have the full pedestrian access with a rack bolted to it at the
these things
same
were
time?
kind of like cantilevers. Side.
I think from being a sailor and having a boat in the Windbag Marina for several years, a lot of the big storms that come in, when that really gets hit, they're coming from the north.
Yep.
And so I almost think if it would be like on the beach, maybe kind of where the old hotel dock was, somewhere there where it's protected by the jetty that comes out. That seems like it would be a logical place. Should,
Do you want to add that as an option then? To look at.
I would like to, yeah.
Non-motorized boat storage, at City Beach.
So we'll call that I.
Yeah, we'll call that I. Any other suggestions that we?
like to see Hickory Park improvements on here.
So right there.
Was that on, that's on our CIP, right? What was
It's
it?
listed up here in the table.
What was the cost estimate though? If it was like,
It says 350,
it's probably why I didn't put it on for next year.
right? I just,
Is there a specific improvement in History Park? Like if we wanted
Like
to
the
parse that out, do one small project next year, what would be one small project we could do at Hickory Park?
I don't know how much playground costs, but it's like the playground.
Playground's pretty expensive.
That's
yeah.
really what that. park
Like a modern
needs.
playground.
It's the lackluster one in the entire,
I might suggest we put that on
In
our,
like 20 years of me being on this commission, it stayed on the low end. It's never been a priority.
yeah.
I think the reason I didn't put it on for next year is because that 350,000 cost estimate seems pretty high, given the 150 that we have as a base here. Now, if we were to put the whole 150,000 towards a match for an LWCF grant, we could get up to 150,000, but that leaves us nothing left over for all. Josh, want to speak? Is that you, Josh?
If you're speaking, Josh, we can't hear you.
Yeah. So the Hickory
Sorry,
Park,
y'all. Technical difficulties.
Can you say a quick thing about Cedar Park? The vision there.
you know, the price tag for that seems a little low to me, but I don't know what exactly was envisioned when Maeve put this table together. So Cedar Park, who has been to Cedar Park before? Who's like actually been down there?
That's like past the roundabout.
Yeah, there's that path at the roundabout. Follow that up and it takes you down to the city park. It's like 3 acres. Beautiful property, like Sand Creek flows through there. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can probably go.
Schweitzer Creek and Sand Creek run
Yeah.
right together right there.
Yeah, oh, it's actually Little Sand Creek and Sand Creek.
Oh, okay.
There. Yeah,
How often is that used?
by the neighbors a lot.
Of
The Jenny and Maddie Lane neighbors go down there. There's a little trail that comes down to
Yeah.
it from Maddie Lane, Jenny Lane. But I don't think anybody else goes up there.
I mean, cause like you think about the parks in that area, like then there's also the jail park. It's for
The jail.
the kids go. And that's
A
what we
lot
call
of kids
it.
out there. Some kids call it juvie.
I don't know if like a
So-
playground would necessarily be
Yeah.
super cool there, but.
Guys, for the sake of like trying to wrap up, can we take,
Yeah.
assume you have 100 points and you've got these, what, 9 projects now? Just allocate them across those 9 projects. I'm gonna collect your sheets and I'm gonna tally them up. And I'll just communicate with Cammie and send out what emerged. And maybe at our next meeting, we can go a little bit deeper into the findings, like what did this exercise reveal in terms of the commissioner's preferences? I don't think we have time to do a full deep dive on the results.
What was Third Avenue Pier, just real quick, or was
Just improvements. I mean, the concrete needs a lot of work. Maybe additional seating there, things like that. We don't have a specific plan for it yet, but you know, there's like literally chunks of concrete in the bottom of the swimming area there that are just broken off the pier.
Do
So-
you do like weed mitigation down there?
Yeah,
They do.
Colton, our guys maintain that.
You
don't they?
guys do.
Yeah, we trim it and mow it. We don't obviously do any spraying.
I meant in the,
Oh, we pick up all of the
like,
milfoil and
yeah.
everything. Third Street gets used a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
That's why when we were talking about that Euclid one, I think it would get used a lot because it's similar type of situation. It's not like there's a lot of parking there, but people walk there. I mean, if you don't go and mow it at certain times in summer, you're just not mowing it that day because it gets used quite a
Now,
bit.
interestingly, that Euclid right of way, we don't maintain that at all.
No.
Yeah, the neighbors are actually maintaining that.
Yep. But something obviously we could still do if it,
So
If-
if that were to become a park, that would actually, that would become a park that we maintain as well.
Yeah.
Instead of, right now, it's Tim Rickard who lives there, actually does all of them.
And that's the neighbors who want it.
No, it's not that they want it. They're the ones concerned about what will happen a generation from now if the city doesn't take ownership of it. They want the city to take over maintenance of it.
probably tired of mowing it.
Well, I think they don't mind, and they enjoy it as well. I've talked to both of them in a few months. Yeah, come do something. Take over.
I had a quick,
Added I is the.
Could you do,
kayak storage.
Yeah,
I said for ice, stand-up paddle and kayak storage at City Beach.
same thing
Josh?
for them at Division Street, right? Like the city, once they do Euclid, they could then maybe figure out how to do Division Street at some point, right?
Yep,
That's the other one.
Division's another right.
so yeah, we've got Josh and Ryan with their hands up on Zoom. I think Ryan was first. Ryan, if you wanna jump in there.
Actually, I just was throwing my hand up to help out Josh because he's been up for a while.
Oh,
So
got it. Okay.
I will defer to Josh.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I don't know how well this ties in, but I know it would cost a little bit of money to get this done. But I wanted to point out something that came up in the last couple weeks. I've been coaching SAFL and using the Great Northern Field out there. It's a great field, and we like it. But what I've noticed lately is that there's been a lot of dog poop on that field, and I mean, like it's so bad that kids are landing in it. Their uniforms are getting all messy. And I've noticed it several times just walking on that field. I don't know. I haven't been on Travers, so I don't know if it's the same issue, but I don't know what can be done. I'm thinking maybe more signage or something about. Uh, Obviously, you can't like have somebody enforce it and be out there all the time looking at people and whether they have their dog loose or not, but maybe putting up some more signs to discourage people like, this is for youth sports and please keep your dog off the property because it's getting pretty gross out there.
What about the,
signs with those bags?
yeah, that's what I was gonna say with the
Do we stock
bag.
bags at Great
we
Northern?
have?
We do. The hard part with signage is people look at it and go, that doesn't apply to me. And so that's the hardest part. But I agree. It can't hurt.
The
you know.
sign with the bags is like over by the restroom. Does that sound right? I'm trying to.
Yeah,
picture.
there's two. There's one over by the restroom and then there's one at the far north end as well.
I'm just thinking maybe there's one that's like, or visible when you just pull up in your
Yeah,
car.
yeah, I'll put
Yeah.
that down.
Driving their dog there.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to only have dogs on a leash on that park on the
Oh, yeah.
vet path.
But
Yeah, and in fact, until last year, dogs weren't even allowed in the summer anywhere in the sports complex, so.
Yeah,
we
and
opened-
I never, and I've been using that field since it was built, and I've never seen it this bad. I've never had a problem with it. So it's almost like now that we allow dogs on leashes, inevitably people are going to abuse that, and so yeah, maybe just some more signage to help everybody out.
I mean, the signage could also get snarky enough to say that like we could lose this privilege.
Yeah,
There's also like right when you pull in that parking lot, if you're the north side, like there's that one little area, maybe it's like you designate an area like. The dogs.
Well, one of the projects that we have for CIP is dog park design and construction.
But it's at that park.
Oh.
I think the problem is, I mean, people who go to those sports things, they bring their dog, it has nowhere to go. They are with them all day because you're a soccer mom from all driving up here for a whole day. Where is your dog supposed to go? Like, not everybody can
Yeah.
pay some, so like.
and the easier we make it, like with the baggy stations, I think the more of those you have, the better, because then at least if there is an accident, like, oh, it's easy enough, I can just go grab a bag and clean up my dog.
We could have the crews could put an extra dog waste station at Great Northern Park in the short term,
Yeah.
for sure. We throw another do up as well. All right,
Awesome.
let's go ahead and rank these guys. You've got 100 points. You've got 9 projects to choose from. You can give all 100 points to one project, or you can spread them out across your top 3 or your top 4, whatever it is.
Dude.
I'm gonna collect these and I'm gonna do a tally sheet, and at our next meeting, we'll go a little deeper into like what does this reveal? So I'm just looking for your opinions and thoughts as a representation of the community here.
Did we say Hickory Park improvements?
I didn't
was
put that
a
on
big
here just
ticket
because I
item.
think that's gonna be a big project. Like, that's probably gonna be $1 million project, and I think I'd rather put that in the future when we can put more towards a big grant match.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, one more quick thing, Jason. The basketball improvements, is that just for City Beach or is that for like several?
Well, on a little map, I showed both Pine Street Park and City Beach as far as
Awesome.
where we can do
Okay.
basketball park improvements.
I think that's a great idea.
I agree.
They both need it.
A lot of kids use them, and we don't do so well in basketball, so we need to get this community up and coming. I like football.
I need street time.
And how many points are we doing to beach volleyball? If that's already kind of a given. Do you
Let's
want
just
us to-
assume, okay, let's assume that's gonna happen. So, yeah, I put it on
Cool.
there. We're gonna do that.
We're crossing.
That
out.
That was already my mindset on here. I
Yep.
put 0 because I knew.
Yeah,
Right.
Joel,
Yeah.
Joel has, what was the joke he said? Someday I'll be known as the council member who tried really hard to get a new beach volleyball court, but never got it. I'm like, dude, we're gonna get you that beach volleyball.
Can you just show me when you're talking about, are you talking about straight
Yeah,
out from your?
right where it goes down to the water there. That's public property right there. You can currently.
So
you
like
can
how
walk right-
wide,
It's 60 foot wide. It's a 60 foot right of way by probably
so from the end of
300
that road,
Yeah.
there's 60 feet,
public
there's a
property.
60-foot wide strip.
Yep,
And-
very similar to Third Avenue Pier. Third Avenue Pier is right of way that goes out.
One thing you might look at, and I can't tell you what is there, there's probably a storm outfall there of some kind. So you might pair something with like a public works project in terms of replacing an outfall. Or maybe there's some dollars that can help.
Yeah.
Something,
Yeah.
treatment at the outfall.
Is there an outfall at Third Street here too?
Yes, sure, low water, you can see it.
I think that the Idaho Conservation Society does.
Hey, Josh, can you complete this and send it back to me?
Absolutely. I'll email you.
Thank you. Asking Heidi to do the same thing. I think Heidi got. But she's there.
I don't know if he emailed you, but Eric's in Spain is why he's not here.
Lori.
So what would the plaza look like for the Conway Bay Trail?
So there's, the concept there has been, technically the Ponderay Bay Trail, mile 0 of the Ponderay Bay Trail is at the intersection of Bridge Street and Dock Street, way down there by City Beach. So that's why, like, when you're out on the trail itself, you start at like mile 1. You guys noticed that before? Or mile 0.75. So the Ponderay Bay Trailhead, I think that's if the hotel ever gets built, they have indicated that they would provide a trailhead for the Ponderay Bay Trail in the southeast corner of the new hotel. So the Ponderay Bay Trail is the paved path at City Beach in front of the old hotel. So someday in our parks plan, we envision having like a kiosk telling the story of the Ponderay Bay Trail and kind of directing people to actually walk from City Beach to the Ponderay Bay Trail. That's why, like, there's only 11 vehicle spaces at the actual Ponderay Bay Trailhead. Well, I should say at the North Ponderay Bay Trailhead, because that's not the actual Ponderay Bay Trailhead. It was always intended, from what I understand, Aaron might know, he's been around a lot longer than me in the city, but the Ponderay Bay Trail was envisioned to start at City Beach. So we've never actually had any signage or trailhead.
And the trail would go
Area.
through the Seasons property or
Well,
behind
that's
it?
the problem. When the
Yeah.
Seasons was developed, there was not an there's an easement for the trail, but it is that, 6-foot striped off path that you have to walk on. Now, yeah, I didn't want to throw Aaron under the bus, but before Aaron was our planning director, previous planning staff allowed that whole development to take place without what I consider like the easement that should have been, just an actual trail easement on the water side. I think there should be a trail on the water.
And that's like so dead.
It's never gonna happen.
What do you think is the greatest, missed opportunity? And that's what I said.
Yeah.
But, so, it's funny because there's an agreement with the city and the homeowners association about it's not really right of way easements to get the water treatments. And there's agreement that said, well, if it shows that if more of the users are, city residents, you have to take on maintenance. They always try to fight that. Say, hey, I got a great idea. Why don't you just dedicate a trail in the front of the, and that ends that conversation.
I bet it.
But yeah, it's kind of a weird written easement if I recall. But
Yeah, Sandpoint
It is what it
Avenue
is.
is not even a public right of way. So it's all private property from the edge of the hotel, basically, to the water treatment plant. The Ponderay Bay Trail is all private property.
Is there ever a plan for the city to deal with like the ingress egress of that whole area with providing another option to get?
oh, it's another sore subject.
I talked about this.
You
just
mean
last
other
night,
than, in
actually.
addition to Bridge Street, you mean?
I mean, it seems so safety, like so.
But I think the only
interesting, the
option
more
is
and more we put down
like-
there.
like an on-ramp onto Highway 95 or something from.
I mean, like, you think about driving a fire truck down there or a ambulance when, and if something really bad happens on one of those busy days and like, it's interesting
I
to
thought
think
that was
about
gonna
your
happen
brain.
with the bypass and then it didn't happen. And I was like,
It just seems like the
It's just
more
right
we
through.
keep putting.
An
out
accident, I
there,
mean, all of it takes a bad accident on the bridge, Bridge Street, and everybody at City Beach, the Seasons, the hotel is stranded.
And then
It's
think
a,
about if you
it's
have
a boat,
another.
it's evacuation by boat type of situation. It's pretty crazy.
Move the railroad.
Chair.
Sure.
Or in the slot. So what's another interesting little bit of history is that when the byway was built, there's a tunnel half built under the bridge. And there was some talk in the second railroad bridge, and, you know, well, hey, why not finish the tunnel? Widen it out? That didn't happen. Was one idea about, to your point about another emergency access point, because, yeah, Bridge Street's the only way. Something happened to that bridge or something, and if mass evacuation needed for some reason. One idea, explored at one point, just, I don't know if it really went anywhere, but, there's the train station, and it may not take a whole lot for just an emergency situation to have some kind of little gate to go right on the byway from the train station. So you got that, that weird, which by the way is terrible for pedestrians to find. Station, there's like no way finding, and Amtrak would be happy to.
wasn't there supposed to be egress from the end of Cedar Bridge route?
Exactly.
Something
Yeah, it's
hidden,
half built.
isn't it? Yeah.
If you go
That's
down
where-
there,
Yeah, that's
where that ramp is.
Yeah.
You'll see a little door.
Yeah.
I've never been in it,
Never noticed.
but there's a little window,
Yeah.
but my understanding behind that window, it's much bigger, and it just goes to a wall.
Mhm.
And it's like vehicle size, or emergency vehicle size, so that you could get onto the trail and get people out.
Oh, I mean, is that what you're talking about earlier?
But
I thought that was only pedestrian egress. I didn't
Well,
realize
it-
that could potentially be,
It would be it could have been used for pedestrians.
right?
But they never planned strong for it, but it could also, in the case of emergency,
Mhm.
get some vehicles down.
Guys, we have 5 minutes
If
and
you guys can do your scores and pass them down this week and just tear that page off. This will be one of the things we discussed at the next meeting. And then I think we have some final business.
Yeah, we've got, annual election of board chair and
Sorry.
annual
With
election
all
of board vice chair.
Oh,
Tally it up.
Taylor, you're doing a great job. I nominate
What's
Taylor.
Right? Is
So-
that fine? I didn't put them on your
Yours?
sheet, but you get the vote.
Yeah.
No, that's
20,
fine.
26.
I would say I'm happy to continue on as the chair. I would just ask my fellow commissioners that as we always have a ton of parks business, but we did get involved in this because we're all passionate about some part of the parks. And so please keep giving me things to add to the agenda so that you stay involved and interested in everything that we're talking about. But I'd be happy to continue as board chair, so. There was a
I think
motion.
Dan, so
I
moved,
believe.
I second.
Everybody else?
seconded,
Okay,
Who seconded?
I did.
Tyler,
I heard it on. We have a motion from Dan and a second.
okay, all in favor of Taylor continuing to be the board chair?
Aye.
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 Okay. Motion passes. I am the board chair.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And with that, would anyone like to be the vice chair?
Nominate Gwen.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, for Gwen to be the vice chair.
Is there anyone else interested?
Yeah, I probably should ask that before we jumped on it.
I'm happy to continue to do it. My work life makes it challenging to commit to every meeting. But if there was somebody who wanted to give it a go, I'm open to that as well.
Also nominate Jessica if she's interested.
Yeah, that,
Can't get out of it.
I'm willing to do that.
so. How do we proceed?
All in
I
favor,
would,
so you
yeah,
have a motion in a second.
second to nominate Jessica.
Are you sure? All in favor of Jessica, as the board's vice chair?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you, I think.
The
Yeah.
Tigers win and I retire.
Oh, no. Does that make you too?
What are you? Get out of here.
Right.
9-3.
My mom's from Detroit, so
I'm from
that's the
Michigan.
American League team that I've always.
Real quick, we're just gonna have to postpone the grant discussion till
What was the grand discussion? Did I put that on the agenda, Amy?
2026,
Oh,
wait,
well, that'll be a good item after we review this, the results from today, because what grants we go for will kind of depend on what projects we do. So let's hold off till the next meeting for that.
Then just one, like, food for thought, as we listen to the community members and such, like, if we aren't following the master plan that we have adopted, is there something we formally should be doing?
Well,
Correct that.
here's the thing. What we should do is probably have a meeting where we look at our what year was it, Cami? Adopted in 2012, updated as late as 2017 Parks Master Plan. Because we are pretty much following that one.
Right, and so.
We had a Parks Master Plan that was probably adopted when Aaron was here.
Right. And what I was.
That Cami and Kim and Jason Wiley and a whole bunch of all the Parks Commission at the time helped develop it. And when I looked at that, I'm like, why did we adopt $130 million Parks Master Plan to replace this very modest one?
Is that
That's what
available
feels-
somewhere? That might be useful just to kind of.
Let me
look
get
at
it up
and get
on
the-
our website.
In that box, I asked Cammy to put it in there, like, cause I was like, it's in our box, and so,
Cool.
On Teams.
Okay, you go.
but there might be a formal action we should be considering as a city.
Disagree.
Yeah,
Without funding through a local option tax or some other multi-million-dollar donation, there's not much in our adopted Parks Master Plan that's achievable.
There's nothing you can do in a vacuum, even the cages, to their point, like you're conflicting with the field if you move the cages to where.
Yeah.
Shown, like.
Yeah.
So I understand their plight to a degree, but also those cages are used for a very short portion of the year.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it's 4:00.
Thank you, guys.
We gotta wrap it up.
I really love that we end these meetings right before.
With no further business before the commission, this meeting is now adjourned at 4:00 PM.
That's because we love Cammy so much. We keep ending it.
Thanks.